All right, so I know that a lot of y'all are going to be coming in over time. Just want to let you know that this is live. If you caught this after the live, then you can start from the beginning. If you caught it in the middle and you want to be in the latest of the live, down in the bottom left-hand corner where the play button is, that is where you'll see the live, where it'll be written out. If it's gray, that means you're in the past, and you'll want to make sure that you click on the live so it'll be in the red, so you'll be in the latest. Now, what we are going to be discussing today is going to be with Trump and Zelensky's meeting yesterday, and breaking that down. We're actually going to watch the entire video. Before we get into that, we're going to sit here and first get into the latest of the news that is going on here. So let's do this. And okay. So howdy everybody. You have an echo? Why is there an echo? There should be no echo. Do y'all still have an echo? It's gone now. Okay. I don't know where that is coming from. Hold on just a second. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Let me restart. Basically what we're going to be doing, we're going to be going over the Ukraine and Russia, and mainly focusing in on the Trump and Zelensky meeting. And we're going to watch the whole entire video together. We'll break it down together. But first, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go over the latest details that we have of what's taking place in Ukraine, and then we will get started. Now, if you are someone that is watching this and you came in late, or you will want to click on the live button. It's down there in the play button. It'll be red, and you'll want to, if it's grayed out, you'll want to make it red, and you'll just click on it. You'll get into the latest live. All right, so let's get into this, shall we? So here we go. Stupid ads all over the place. They're gonna make me pay for this stuff one day, but whatever. Let's see. Oh well. There it goes. Now it went away. So, latest thing that you have that is going on. Man, these ads. Oh well, that's the ad y'all are gonna get. Now, this didn't just start in 2022 on February 22nd. This had been something that has been going on for over a decade. Nice ad. Yeah, you ain't joking. Been going on for over a decade down here in this area. And there's always been this dispute. There was the red line dispute. You'll see some people, they're like, man, I'm tired of hearing about it. But you had where Ukraine was crossing it a lot. And that's what this was about. If United Nations and America, if they did not get involved into this, we probably would have never seen this happen. Because Ukraine was opening up the streets and was like, just come on in type deal. And then the nations and America got involved and was like, nope, this is how we're going to proceed with it. We're going to put all this lines up. And then before you knew it, we were in a actual full-blown war. Now, you have more than likely heard President Trump of America saying that Zelensky is playing cards with World War III. And that's truth. Why? Because of how big and powerful Russia is. That is a force to reckon with. So we have that where there's going on. I know that a lot of people, you get into conspiracies, as do I. You have where there's certain areas to where Russia has hit directly in some stuff, and it gets into the questions of biolabs. So you're going to have that. You also have where the media flat out lied about who was involved, and saying that, the Miss Ukraine was involved, and there was a ghost of Kiev and all this type of stuff. And then they swapped roles and was like, well, no, we never said that. So other things that we have been told is that Ukraine is just demolishing Russia over and over again, and just Russia doesn't stand a chance. Well, let me introduce you to, this is the, come on. It's like my mouse is messing up. This is the edge of Ukraine. And it goes more and more in every few months. To where there's battles that are taking place. And I even question if there's more that is going on further and further and further. In this area right here, that's actually where a power plant, nuclear, is. And Russia has actually taken full control over that. I have no idea what the agreement is. I can base it off of an assumption, and that's up to you if you'd like to base it off of that, or you've had another idea. I'll read the comments and see what y'all think. But I feel that the agreement is going to be Russia's going to want land. I also wouldn't be shocked if America taps into some type of businesses. Why? So that they get their money back. We have given, I want y'all to understand this, we have given over $320 billion. Over $320 billion. There is 772,000 homeless people. You can verify this on your own, okay? If you were to give that money to the homeless people of America, what do you think that number would be? To each and every one of them. I'll look at the comments and see what y'all are going to say. If you gave that money to Americans, to the homeless people of America, the 772,000, what's the dollar amount that you think each one of them would get? $500 million. So what it comes out to, this is what it comes out to, is $280,000 roughly to each homeless person. Now my question to you, because we're watching this go on more and more, my question to you is, would we have been better off doing that? Would we have been better off with building establishments to helping the homeless obtain a job? Would we have been better with getting affordable living for homeless people and better shelters? Would we be better with giving them an establishment for food and stuff? Getting away from literally begging on the streets? Or were we better giving this to Ukraine? Someone who was at the subjects of the hands of Russia coming in. Russia did start the war. Russia is inside of it. There has been civilians who have lost their lives. Let me ask you something, though. Does anybody have an idea of how many Ukrainian civilians have lost their lives in Ukraine? You say too many? All right. As of today, as of January 31st, 2025, there has been 12,605 civilian deaths since the war that Russia started on February 24th, 2022. Now, I say Russia started, I know everyone's going to have opinions because they're going to sit there and say, well, if NATO wasn't there and America wasn't there, then this wouldn't have happened. I understand. So, that is, that's the number. Now, let me ask you this. How many homeless people do you think die in a year? While you're thinking of that, I'll go ahead and tell you. It's estimated, because no one really knows, between 17,000 to 46,000. See, this is why it bothers me. Because underneath Trump, and I'm not advocating for Trump is better than Biden. I'm just telling you truth. This war would have not happened underneath the hands of Trump. And you've lost the hands where we have doused over $300 billion to Ukraine, to where there was still 17,000 people in Ukraine that are civilians that lost their lives. 12,000 people that have lost their lives. We could have put that money into the homeless center, worked it out in the political field to where no war would have started. No war would have started. Okay? So that means that 0 people would have died. 0 people would have died if no war would have ever started. And we could have put that money into the homeless people. And we could have saved anywhere from 17,000 to 46,000 lives. That's where I stand. If you disagree with me, I respect you. I love hearing different types of thoughts. But that's where I stand. Now the question becomes, would America have done that? I don't know. We got the money to actually still do that, and we're not. But I'm just giving you a scenario of what would you rather do? Yeah. People of North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, Florida, that were impacted by these hurricanes. People in Hawaii with their fire. California with their fire. Ohio with the train incident. I actually know people in the Tennessee area that was affected by the hurricane. They've drove right over and flown right over. People will go and stop in Virginia and help them. Politicians will go to Virginia, or they'll go to North Carolina. They'll go to that west from the south to the north on the western side of North Carolina. But they skipped that little area in northeast Tennessee, and that area was impacted just as much. Just throwing out something else for y'all to think about. So, there's how we're looking at this. This is how I look at it. And as Canuck says, you should take care of yours before others. And I have always been that type of person. Now, that's me. You may disagree, and that's fine. I have always been that type of person who says, well, you got to take care of your own backyard before you want to go and help someone else in their backyard. I say that when I've seen us give our personal money, I mean your personal money, where you make donations and you send it to Africa. That's awesome. That's great. What about the homeless people? I understand that there is places, radio stations, and other big businesses that will go and raise money through your money, and they will tell you, you know, hey, the power of the dollar goes so much further. You can help more people. I get it. But we have tens of thousands of our own dying every year. Every year. I don't know what the percentages and things like that compared to another place. I'm looking at it as our own backyard. So now, let's go watch this video. We're going to see how this goes, where it gets into, and we'll see how everyone feels. Again, want you to know, if you are watching this live, make sure that if you see the little live that's written down right beside the play button, if you see it gray, you want to make sure that you click on it. It'll turn red and it'll put you into the latest of the live. All right, let's go into this, shall we?
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine, and we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time, and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States, and we appreciate working with you very much. And we will continue to do that. We have had...
All right. So, pretty much saying what I did, you know, some type of agreement. America is going to be getting some type of rare earth out of it. You know, helps us out. I know some people will sit there and view that as, well, how's people of Ukraine feel about that? And my reply back would be something that was bluntly honest. How would you feel if America did absolutely nothing and let Russia, over the last 2 years, utterly destroy it? I'm sorry, over the last 3 years. It would have been over within about 2 weeks. So, let's continue on.
Some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We'll have to negotiate a deal, but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. You're losing thousands of soldiers. So on both sides, we're losing a lot.
You know, here's another thing. There was something in the works to where Zelensky, at one point in the time, did want an agreement. His mind was changed just very recently. Like, he's wanting to tell Trump, you know, like, hey, look, I wish maybe they would have talked privately before this. Trump wanted to show the world how this goes. I think that's really what Trump was doing here, wanting to show the world what goes on. And that's why you see almost an hour-long meeting here. Usually they don't go on this long. It's 10 minutes at best case scenario.
A lot of soldiers, and we want to see it stop, and we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding, and we're going to be working very hard, but we've had a lot of very good.
So here you have, again, what I'm saying with where we can put this money into the homeless. I'm not talking about just literally going up to a homeless person and saying, here's almost $300,000. I'm talking about that you can build structures, you can build establishments for better food, and getting things set like that. In fact, benefiting all of America with doing this single action right here that I'm about to say. Mental establishments. See, if you had mental establishments, that is why there's unfortunately some people that are homeless. Veterans fall underneath that category as well. We could establish something like that. We could establish something for veterans when they get out. Look, I'm going to state something that I've just always have felt ever since I've thought about it. I don't know how long, but to sit there and just look at somebody when they come back from war, doesn't matter if it's a day, a year, a decade, or they're 90 years old and they're sitting there in a wheelchair. I'm not a fan of just sitting there saying thank you for your service and then walking away. Like, I see some people who do that and they take it as like, oh man, I've really feel great about saying that. I feel like I did my part. It's like, like this person actually gave a sacrifice for you, for each and every one of you. In fact, they've given sacrifices to those in other countries as well. And I'm not just talking about them going to another country to, fight in that war. I'm not just talking about when they've gone to Germany, and been involved in that. I'm talking about the third world countries that are outside of that, that these soldiers have they've been fighting a war in X country, but it also benefited this other country. So a soldier that donated 4 years, 8 years, or longer, and they come back to a 10% discount on, and then they get acknowledged just sometimes of a thank you for your service. That's where I'm at. Anyhow, let's continue on with this. See where.
Good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever.
Anyhow, all I was getting at it on that was that we can establish a better mental system, a better understanding. One random thing that I do want to say, I think that the media needs to stop with trying to investigate what makes someone a lunatic to shooting up a school or going to a hotel and shooting up all these people in the concert. They go looking for a mental where they're unstable. And I think that needs to be stopped, because we have so many people that now when they hear that, hey, did you hear that your cousin or your friend or this person at work is bipolar or things like that, it makes people afraid that when they hear things like that, it makes them afraid that, oh my gosh, this is going to be a person who's going to shoot us up at a family reunion, or they're going to shoot up people at their job. So we need to understand that that's something that is a totally different thing. You know, could it make someone like that? Sure, but the percentage out of it, you ought to go look into it, of how many people that are suffering from multiple personalities or bipolar or all these other, mental illnesses. You should go and really look into the percentage of it, to how many of them have committed a crime and how many of them have committed no crime, and how many of them have committed a murder or worse. You should go and look into it if you are someone who's afraid. Become educated to knowing that it is totally okay to hear that and not go to that extreme mind of, oh my God, my job's going to be shot up, Or that when something happens, you don't jump to the gun and being like, well, they had bipolar. You shouldn't be doing that. So, all right, let's continue on, and I'll stop getting squirrel thoughts of ADHD in my head.
Didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that, I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times, if I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through what you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but they... I'm gonna have to address this comment. T says, why aren't any of the United States stupid allies on Russia's side? Don't they realize how popular and fashionable pro-Russia sentiments and talking points are among conservatives right now? You go on to say, why wouldn't we wouldn't have to send aid to Ukraine if Russia hadn't decided to violently invade their country. But you won't ever hear a Republican blame Russia, because they're trained not to. Well, I don't like speaking my politics, but I guess I need to for this point. I'm old school conservative. I'm true old school conservative. That's my general stuff that I side with. The other times it's libertarian. But you'll listen to Trump on this, and he will sit here and talk about how bad this is of what Russia's capable of doing. So I do really disagree with your statement there that Republicans don't blame Russia. So, but I will tell you the truth, though. I am someone that's okay with Putin. I don't think that Putin's a problem. I don't think that Russia is a problem. There's things that they do that I disagree with. I don't like communism. But there's also things that America does that I disagree with.
And I disagree with the fact that 5 years ago, we were looking at, a smoking gun of looking like we were going to go straight into socialism. So, anyhow, let's continue on.
If somebody has to use the equipment, they've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself, in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters, and you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things, and we appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that, and an honor to have you. And please, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for your invitation. And really, I hope that this first document, will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees. Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do. And of course, I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values, our freedom, democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories. But it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course, we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks of Russians. And I want to speak how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course, with the United States. And we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure. So that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that these crazy Russians, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names, they changed their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back, and really, it's a big dream, task, and goal for me, and our warriors. By the way, Mr. President, we released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images. How it's. I've just can I now?
Yeah, please.
One minute. Just you to understand in what circumstances, in what situation they are, and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, there. And that, so they don't eat, they beat them, and they, it's a lot of...
All right, so, lot to take from what he said. One thing is that Zelensky said is that he wants where there's an air shield. He wants something that's established like America, so it feels very well protected, so that the civilians or the Ukrainians feel protected just as America does. I don't think I really have a problem with that at all. I understand the only like slight hesitation is how much money are we talking about here? So that's where I'm at on that one. Now, with him showing these pictures, I don't know anybody who's not familiar with how horrible war can be. But hey, sometimes maybe you got to show some visual stuff to make your point across, and that's usually when I see things shown like this. So this is a sign to me that Zelensky's thinking something else that America is not wanting. So let's see. T said Russia could decide to stop the invasion and end the deadliest conflict in Europe since World War II. They could send all of their soldiers home, and then we wouldn't have to send too much aid to Ukraine. Yes, they could, but we're here. And they're not. There's a lot of things that I could do the what if game to. I mean, a lot of things I could do the what if to. I could say it like this in a different way, T. I could say, well, what if NATO and America didn't get involved? Do you think we would have seen a war? And there's a lot of people that would say, no, we would have not seen a war. I fought in Afghanistan. It's not a sight you can get out of your head. I hate that for you, Ink Patriot. And thank you for everything that you've done. That is a great sacrifice and a hard one, because you still deal with it today. So your sacrifice is your life. So thank you. I'll read this off as Ink Patriot said. Zelensky wants a World War III. We'll get more into that, because I agree with exactly with what Trump says, that Zelensky's playing cards with something that could be World War III. The reason being is because of how big Russia is. So let's continue on, shall we?
A lot of, bad things. So
hold on. One thing else that I want to address. There is no proven facts as of right now. Okay? There is no proven facts that there has been children taken from Ukraine, their name change and all this. There's been tons of reports of accusations. Just want to make that clear and understandable. You believe as you want. I'm not going to, say that, hey, this is true or not. I will let you know when things are accusations. Just like it's an accusation that Russia was hitting biolabs in Ukraine. Just as much as that. So if you believe one accusation, are you going to believe the other accusation? Or are you going to sit here and say that you only believe one side because it's your side that you want to be for? So.
During the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. So these guys, they don't have any rules. You see that?
All right, so one thing that Zelensky says here is there is rules. Yes, there is rules. There are certain things that you get to decide, that a country gets to decide when they capture someone. They can either decide to eliminate them right then and there. They can decide to make them a prisoner of war, and they can decide to, torture. There's different paths that they can do, and they don't get to do all the above. The thing with what he's showing here, this isn't someone who showing someone who is skinny and starved. That's not a subject of someone who's breaking war laws. We've had our own American troops, and I know there's some in here who are watching this that are veterans, and they will testify to this and be like, yeah, we've seen our own when they come back of how skinny and damaged and hurt they are. In fact, what's his name? Senator John McCain. I mean, dude cannot lift his hand or his shoulders or his elbows above his shoulders because of how they damaged him so bad with the type of activities that they horribly did to him. We're aware of how bad. So let's continue on.
50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you what the changes with images of children, because I will just share with you. And I mean, it's looking tragic.
No, that's tough stuff.
Yeah, I wanted very much to give you, and you see.
Yeah.
This is pastor, by the way. They stolen pastors because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison. We, at the end of last year, we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them. And this is pastor, you see.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. So I mean, this I wanted to show you, and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah. Of course. We
And
want.
I think we will.
All right. Here's something important to be said. Trump asked him, "You want to get all this ended, right?" He says, "Yes." Look, there's things that I hate about war. There's negotiations that I hate about war. And someone's going to call me humanitarian for this, and that's completely fine. I don't justify that I'm one thing or another. But I'm one who says stop as a war as much as possible. Going on for 3 years in a war, that's bad. That's bad. And the fact that one side has no cards to play with and the other side has a full deck. I mean, everything is stacked against Ukraine right now. They're not in a position to make any type of demands. Sucks. But yes, 3 years, that is too dang long. And it will get worse and worse as the months go on. Let's continue on.
And
We have to, of course.
do you have any questions, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. With the, how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much, because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected, but still it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil, and we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
And on long-term security for Ukraine, how does this provide?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal, because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides. 2,000, and they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it. And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to, this is a tremendous amount of money, and what the Biden administration did was terrible. They were giving money, but he had no security on the money.
All right, so what we are hearing in that is that you're talking about raw earth minerals, Ginger. That's in goods of making stuff. I haven't looked into all the raw earths that that Ukraine has to offer, but I will after this video and see what type of raw earths. Heck, I'll do it right now. So let's see. Ukraine. All right. So let's do this. Here you go. It's about 6 points here, so I'm going to read them out. Ukraine is rich in a variety of natural resources, including some critical raw materials that are valuable for the production of advanced technology, energy, and military equipment. And that is one of or actually all of the things is what you just heard President of the United States, Donald Trump, just say. Some of the most important rare earth elements and minerals that Ukraine possesses and that are critical for the United States include, number one, is uranium. Ukraine has significant uranium reserves, which are vital for nuclear energy production. The U.S. relies on uranium for its nuclear power plants and military applications, and securing access to global supplies is important. And we have our, one of the best power for energy in America is nuclear facilities, nuclear power plants. All right, number two, titanium. I didn't know that one. Titanium, number two. Ukraine is a major producer of titanium, particularly from the ore deposits in the country. Titanium is essential for aerospace, defense, and automotive industries due to its strength, low density, and resistance to corrosion. Now, I was a machinist for a couple years, actually obtain gold in Skills USA, if anybody's familiar with that. So I'm very familiar with titanium. That would be really something, because I forget how much titanium is, and I don't feel like looking it up. But if we could dramatically decrease that, man, like it says, aerospace defense and automobiles would be a game changer. Which means that'll be a game changer for you due to you buying stuff. Actually, even flying, it could drop the cost on that. Of where it's, hey, it used to cost, this X amount to build a plane. Now we can do it for less, and we could have more. Now your cost of flying goes down. You also have where buying a vehicle, you're looking at a vehicle today, $40,000. If titanium was able to drop, you could be looking at something to significantly less, potentially. So that is the number 2 thing there. Number 3, you have lithium. Well, not one of Ukraine's top resources in terms of global ranking, there are indications of lithium reserves in Ukraine. Lithium is crucial for the production of batteries used in electric vehicles and renewable energy storage. Now, that is one thing that you did hear President Trump speak on, was that there was untapped resources in there. I think he even said potentially. So that would be the correct usage of that. So yeah, to have something like that would be nice, if true, Number 4 is manganese. Ukraine is a major producer of manganese and essential components in steel production. Manganese is also important in manufacturing batteries for electronics and electric vehicles. Again, that was something that you just heard President Trump speak on moments ago, talking about the technology. Number 5, we have graphite. Ukraine has significant graphite deposits, which are essential for battery production, especially in lithium-ion batteries, electronics, and manufacturing of various industrial products. Number 6 is the REE, which is rare earth elements. While Ukraine is not one of the largest global producers of rare earth, it has some deposits of these critical minerals, which are essential for electronics, defense, technology, and renewable energy system. These elements are critical for the production of high-tech devices like smartphones, your solar panels, and wind turbines. So that was a lot, but I think that answer was needed to be said. So hopefully that answers everything for you there, Ginger. All right, let's continue on. Thank you, everybody who is commenting, hitting the thumbs up as you do. I do appreciate y'all doing that. And then sharing this live. And if you are someone who is watching this on the live, again, just make sure that the word live is red down in the bottom left-hand corner where the play button is. If it's gray, just click on it. It'll give you to the most up-to-date live there is. Now, if you're watching this on Rewind, I hope you are enjoying this. All right, let's continue on with the rest of this. We are 10 minutes in. We have 50 minutes to go, so enjoy.
Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have. And we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country.
Mr. President,
This allows us to do that.
will you continue
Sorry.
sending military aid?
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next documents, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see really goodwill for this. LNG terminals for us is very important.
For security, of European continent. We have the biggest storage, gas storage.
We have the biggest in Europe.
Yes.
I don't know if that came across, but he is talking about manganese.
Yes, and we can use it. Use it for LNG. Use it for LNG, and we will do it. And really, we can help Europe because Europe really helped. President Trump said that they made less support, but they are our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President.
They did.
They did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much less.
No. No.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. President Trump, you have repeatedly called the deal with Ukraine as a historical one. And as a President of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world. So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself with any famous historical figures?
Yeah, I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say I'm far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now, you know I'm only kidding, right? Because when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say he considers himself to be better than Washington. But you never know. You never know. I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had a great 35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month. We've accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this would be a very great achievement if we could get the war stopped and get them back to normalization. I think that's going to happen. We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know. But I think we've done a very good job, just generally. If you look at all of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had. And this is one of the very important things. This, to me, is one of the most important things because we have tremendous death taking place as we speak, and I don't want to have that. You know, think of the parents, whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would have, if I were president, this would have never started.
Mr. President, where has out your conviction? Mr. President, will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine after the U.S. signs this agreement with Ukraine?
Yeah, we're going to be continuing.
President Zelensky, do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That President Trump is on your side at this moment?
Right.
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that, sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the president speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory, they came to our land. They began this war, and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, with really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history, I think that if President, or when, he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall in time.
We've had very, very good talks.
What about military aid to Ukraine?
President Zelensky just said that there would be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you, firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you might be thinking that you may be able to offer or bring to the table, for example, elections? Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't.
Yeah, so that was I don't know. I would say it's a stupid question, but it's a question to, I don't know, pushing buttons of asking if Trump is on, does Zelensky believe that Trump's on his side? So, probably came across from one of those news networks that is anti-Trump, or just someone that's just wanting their voice to be heard. Let's see, that language barrier nerfed him. He could probably say things better in his language. Oh, yes, I agree, Stephen. It's hard speaking in another language. I don't care how good you're in at it. So yeah, I'm with you on that. D said, I think someone told me to come in and demand more money and security. So who changed his mind? Yeah, that's a fair question. So D is wondering who changed his mind. Why did he insist on coming to the U.S.? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So, I feel it was a question to cause controversy as well. All right. Let's see what else.
Be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. That's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile, to put it mildly. They've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war. This has been a vicious war. It's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Mr. President, I've got two questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars? And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I consider that to be far less important. So I hope I'm going to, thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. This could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and we won it by a lot, that was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and This was one of the things. I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not have been a good situation. What was your second question?
And my second question for President Zelensky, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this.
Something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so here we go with that right there. So, as I stated in a video I made earlier, and as Ink Patriot just said, and many of y'all knew before I even made that video earlier, Zelensky bought a yacht, and he has dressed better on his yacht than he has in front of the President of the United States in the Oval Office, coming in wanting something. I don't know, take it as you want, but I do want to make something clear here. Okay? Really clear here. That wasn't Trump who asked him that. It wasn't J.D. Vance who asked him that. It was a reporter asking him that. Okay? So if you are someone who is bothered with that question, make sure that you aim your hate at the correct level and don't put this onto the hands of, oh, this is Republicans being disrespectful. Okay? So that is where I stand, though. I could care less what the man showed up. And just like I could care less what I go to church in. But I will say this. I do aim to try to look presentable when I'm going to meet someone of some level of importance. And yes, that does go with God. I don't know. Not looking like I'm wearing a onesie or going to Walmart. So if it's clothes that I feel that's respectful, then it's what I'm going to wear. So let's continue on.
Thank you, President Trump. You said yesterday that you have...
Are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace?
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But we very much appreciate the agreement because we needed what they had, and we're treating, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stopped shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. We have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, thank you. You had hosted Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's why I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement, because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money to $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
So I see nothing there. I'm just stopping the mic just to see if anybody has anything to say. Yeah, I see Zelensky's face more and more. I see that, like, when sometimes things are asked, like he does the eye roll, like you're mad, but could be because of the language, could be just his facial expression of trying to understand what they're asking, and that's how his mind works. For instance, I'll give you a demonstration. A lot of people say, when you look up and to the left, it means that you're lying. No, that's literally a shot in the dark, type deal. It ticks you off. I understand. I'm just going to give him the benefit of a doubt just because there's the language barrier there. If there was no language barrier there, then I would sit there and be like, is he getting pissed off with the questions and things like that? Because this is kind of the first time that Zelensky has really been asked questions on a very public level. So, hey, you can't understand him. But yeah, like all the other ones of where he was asked around the world, it really wasn't where just a random media person could ask a question freely.
I can answer. Yes, if I can answer. Sorry. Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
Even though I think he's a great guy, by the way. But I don't know if you two like each other. But you know what? I think he's dressed.
I like this guy.
I think he's dressed beautiful.
So I have more serious things than answer on such questions. I will answer on more serious questions if I can.
Ha! Well, you actually got something a little bit more that the media has not shown. In fact, I'm going to be bluntly honest. I haven't seen anybody on TikTok bring what was just said right there, where Trump actually told Zelensky, I just want you to know I like your clothing. And I feel fine with what you wear. So I could only imagine these people that are being negative towards Trump. Like, one, they're putting the blame on him wrongfully. And two, I wonder what they would say if they listen to that. But here's my biggest thing that really pisses me off. Really pisses me off. Is people, especially in the TikTok world, they'll make a one line that's completely wrong and it sells. There's too many people on TikTok that are for clickbait. You know, they'll sit here and just show that one liner for a second and they have no idea what the rest said. So, but yeah, that is very nice to know that Trump actually said, hey, look, I don't care, which is pretty funny. That's how I said it. I was like, I don't care what he wears, you know. So, I heard so many people say Trump was very disrespectful to Zelensky. Not seeing that at all. I'm not seeing it at all either. I think people took snippets. And so far, you know, you got a reporter over into the corner to where Trump actually said something very important. Trump actually said, I don't know if you two know each other or if you two have bad blood going on. So I guess I could time stamp that mark around an hour and 15 into it. So, but let's continue on.
Please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like the president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke to me.
No, you were the president. You were the president during.
He never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had, of course, not with you, but he had during those periods. He had conversations with our side, and we had Normandy format. You know, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia, and he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, you know, he knows that we have all the world knows that we have meeting. Yes, why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security, when we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance, connection between the United States and the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial, this is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. You know, it's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared these thoughts. I think maybe with your team also. I don't know, but with all the Europeans, in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents, it's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
Mr.
President, under these
Should Russia pay to
I asked
rebuild Ukraine?
They have to
President
pay.
Zelensky this question. You
This
didn't
is the
like
rule.
because
This is the rule of
because
the war.
I'm
This is
sorry.
the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay.
Do you agree?
This is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billions, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
Dang it. He made me lose my train of thought because of so much that he's saying. One of the things was that, and I respect him, I disagree with it, is that he thinks that Putin is not going to actually fulfill doing a ceasefire. And the reason being is because he's saying, you know, hey, Putin is using ballistic missiles. So I get that. But yeah. Okay. Let's continue on.
I asked under these circumstances,
do you envision a trilateral summit with
because I wanted
Putin
to
and
know.
President Zelensky?
Wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and
Yes.
Ukraine or on the Ukraine side.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops in Europe. After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country.
Yeah.
Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. They, as you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics, they got a lot of, it's a tough neighborhood too, but we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize, because they are in for far less than we're in, and they should be at least equal. You understand that? Why is the United States, we have an ocean in between, why is the United States in for so much more money and other things as Europe? With that being said, and as you said, they've also been obviously very helpful, but we have put in far more than they have, and I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
That's an interesting statement with our percentage that we've put in versus what someone else has put in. So, interesting one. And then, because let me throw out something to you, okay? If you heard that America has put in, let's say, 1% into helping Ukraine, okay? And they've been doing that for, you know, this 3 years. So it's totaled this, 1%, okay? Let's say that this other country, I don't really care to call names, but this other country sits there and they put in 0.02%, okay? if America was to pull out right now, how would you judge America? With the next top countries only putting in this 0.02% or 0.2%, you know, how would you look at them? So that is a very good point right there. So, all right, let's continue on.
Please, go ahead.
About the agreement again today, what changed between the first time that Secretary Vance gave President Zelensky the agreement and today for the signing?
We made a deal. So
What was the
I'm just,
deciding factor?
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed.
General-
I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal, so that changed.
Mr. President, what and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know,
under
but
these
well, they
circumstances?
don't like each other. I can tell you that. Okay? They do not like each other. This is not a love match, and it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation. The United States should not have allowed this to happen. Okay? The United States, run by a man that didn't know much. I'm going to be very nice. Run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My people will tell you, I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you right now there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about. Two smaller nations, but big, still big. And I think I've stopped it. But this should have never happened.
Mr. President.
About sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that Ukraine, more than Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But at the future, any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war, not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United States. This is war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the anyway will be at the negotiation table. Then of course United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize that we are defending line and they have real life and our people are dying. That's why they helped us. And also it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice ocean. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR, and Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers, it doesn't matter, do you have ocean or not? Your soldiers will fight.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kiev or...
Okay. So, here we are, the USSR being brought up again, and Zelensky saying, you know, hey, he believes that Putin will go to the extent to where they own the territories like they did of USSR, but he will actually go further than that, even when he gets that. And that's what Zelensky's stance was. Now, Trump didn't seem to really get bothered by that. So, have a trouble getting past what I feel was a threat from Z. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get to that. Good to see you, Goody. All right, let's... so, here we are, just so that y'all know. We're 32 minutes into this video. It's a 50-minute video. So far, seems pretty okay. You can tell that there's a little bit of, you know, like a slight tension. You could tell that Zelensky, I mean, he flat out said it. He doesn't believe that Russia will actually honor to a ceasefire. So that was kind of like the worst of the disagreement, and that's not one that's really bad. So let's continue on.
Which is going to be a third year with Lexi.
It was my question.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa.
You know, one thing that I want to say too is that I have noticed Zelensky several times in this meeting has stated that he's drawn in, like the media is, on talking of the defense, and that's where Trump truly believes that it's like easy. Once you got it established, things are stopped, you can really add this amazing defense. What's up, Bedrock? Good to see you all. All right, let's continue on.
Have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No.
And a lot of
things
have to
You have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools.
Let's not talk.
Okay, hold on. We're going to restart this because this seems like this might be one of the things that might have started this off, which is where they're asking the question of how's the cities, and Trump says one thing and Zelensky stops. So let me re-listen to this to make sure I hear what Trump says first.
Talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. There are a lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No.
And a lot of things have to happen.
You have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting, and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. No, he lost 700,000 people.
I'm not really following Zelensky on this. And here's why I'm not really following Zelensky on this. Is because Zelensky sits here and he's like, oh no, we got very good cities. But then literally in the very next breath, he's like, yeah, there's children that go to underground schools. That's a hard one to follow. But, okay.
700,000 soldiers, he lost everything. Yes. So,
Mr. President, one more. I mentioned Poland.
Please, go ahead.
When did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good. And I've known him for a long time. I've dealt with him for a long time. He had to suffer through the Russia hoax. You know, Russia was a hoax. It was all Biden. It was nothing to do with him. So he had to suffer through that, and he was able to do that. I think that he wants to make a deal, and he'd like to see it end. That's all I do. That's what I do. My whole life, that's what I do, is make deals. And I'm in the middle of a mess, because this is a real mess. It's a very dangerous one. If this doesn't get solved now, it's not going to get solved for a long time. So I hope we're going to get it solved. In the back, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prime Minister Starmer claimed repeatedly that his government believes in free speech and was not engaged in censorship. But his country's government arrests people for memes and thought crimes, and even more worrisome is pressuring American companies to censor Americans on its behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such an important topic?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. J.D. was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco. And we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of those, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made at Munich, and I think it's a very compelling one, that what unites us with Europe, as much as anything else, is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
Mr. President.
It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday, and I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country, and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Mr. President, on the deal, is there any other oil and gas
Yeah, so just chiming in for a moment. Everything seems still chilled. We're 36 minutes into this video with, about 14 minutes left.
A little bit. We'll see.
on LNG?
But we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement?
So oil and gas being brought up, that's I listed off earlier. If you missed that, you definitely should rewind back to where Ginger was asking that question about what type of raw materials are we talking about. So that could help America, and I answered that. So oil and gas is not one of them. So therefore, I'm going to say silly question.
Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is that on the table at all?
No, we don't need that.
Mr. President, I just wanted to ask you about, you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you...
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay. And how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian forces?
They'll be protected.
European
The agreement
forces?
will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement.
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in those spots?
I just told you, I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
They ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive. Let's go. Please go.
I already mentioned Poland.
Yeah, I mean, if Trump didn't believe in what he was doing, we wouldn't be here, at all. So yeah, I'm kind of with that one. So I'm curious to see something. Ouch. CNN's numbers have dropped. Did y'all know this? So roughly in 2016, you had 1.3 million. 2017 and 2018, it went right underneath that million or hovered around it all the way into 2019. 2020 jumped up drastically to 1.8. 21, it dropped down to 1.10. 22 dropped all the way down to 0.83. So 830,000. Anybody want to take a guess on just a approximately what the numbers are for 2024? You want to take a guess? 75,000, 500,000? All right. I'll tell you that y'all are fairly close. 685,000. A news network that used to be at one point in time, just literally a few years ago, all the way up to 1.8, has dropped down to almost a third. I mean, almost 2/3. That's insane. 2/3. Let me break this down for y'all. You had 147,000 of those viewers were 25 to 54. But post-election, y'all ready for this? CNN's ratings declines significantly, with network experiencing a 52% drop in its primetime demographic, where they only averaged, anybody want to take a guess? Take a guess. Please be my guest. Make a guess how much you think it dropped. Take a guess. Take a guess. Let me put it this way. I've had more people watch me than people watch CNN. Dropped down to 77,000. 77,000. I have literally made videos before of where I had over 1 million views. That means I was more popular than CNN. Man, I was really thinking it was only what's his name? The Joe Rogan. That is insane. Goodness. That is insane. Yeah, what it is, Angie, yeah. When TikTok gives a breakdown of how many people came in and left, they give me the total numbers, but I had 1 million people. And it's not like only one time. I've broke that over and over again. That is insane. Okay, let's continue on.
Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world.
That is a very, very key thing that President Trump just said. You can't sit here and go and bash someone and then expect to get a deal made. You know? So people sit here and they'll be like, "Oh, Republicans, you know, you know, they just seem like they're for Trump. I mean, that they're for Putin." And it's like, man, they're just looking for a deal to get done, you know, is what they're hoping on. Because if you sit here and you bash someone over and over and over again, and then you call them up and say, "Hey, can we make a deal?" How do you think that's going to go? The actions of what President Trump is saying right here is actually very much into the political play. So he's matured a lot as a politician. So my hat goes off to him on that one. So
I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, you know, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know?
All right, I'm going to be clear on this because I can feel this is about to be where the tension comes in the room. I'm going to say with Zelensky bringing up 2014, that was underneath the regime of Obama. It's a very, very fair point that he's making. So
2015.
2014
and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to?
So boom, it got hot, like light switch. Okay, Zelensky was itching for it. Trump never gave the itch to him. Vance gave him the itch. That's how it went. So this is what blew it up. So J.D., Vice President J.D. Vance, is very protective of the President of the United States, and he has a very, very, very high regard for him. You're watching it. Yeah, I wonder what might have transpired before this, because I'm one that I'll tell you, it looks like Zelensky was looking for a fight with Vance. So, yeah, and that is a very, very great point that Angie just made. When you see someone cross their arms, I learned this when I was a car salesman, okay? If you ever want something to happen, you're selling a product, the worst thing you could ever do is cross your arms, because that means you're closed-minded. That means you're very one-sided. So the best thing you can do is put your arms behind your back. So great point, Angie, with making that. Man, I have no problem that he brought it up, of bringing up 2014. Let me read this off if y'all don't mind. During Russia's annexation of Crimea in early 2014, 6 individuals were killed. 3 were protesters, 2 were Ukrainian soldiers, and 1 a Russian Cossack paramilitary. Okay? Additionally, between 2014 and 2016, 10 people were forcefully disappeared and remained missing as of 2017. However, comprehensive data on the casualties specifically resulting from Russia's actions in Crimea between 2014 and 2021 is very limited. So I'm going to beg to ask you the question. Even though that's what kind of trickled this 2022 February 22nd war with Crimea and everything, what is your thoughts on Zelensky bringing this up? Especially with the fact that the incidents that took place happened before President Donald Trump's first term. In fact, during President Trump's term, there was nothing that took place. There was crap that was going on, but not deaths like Zelensky was making it out to be. So, it's very clear to me, Zelensky's looking for a fight, and he just threw out crap. And J.D. bid on it because he feels that he's being disrespectful to the president. So, let's continue on.
The Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position
this
to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I was
have the
saying-
cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing
But
cards.
right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what you're
You're
speaking about?
gambling with
What are you
World
speaking
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States
are
of
you
America
speaking about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
Real quick, D's now. Thank you so much for the gifts. Greatly do appreciate it. Look, thank you so much for that. Thanks for being you. I appreciate that, D's now. Thank you, everybody that is starting the role with telling D's thank you. I appreciate y'all so much for doing that because it's people like this to why I'm able to do this full time. So thank you so much. Yeah, Zelensky got popped in the mouth on this one. That when you cause an escalation, you're not going to talk anymore, and that's why Trump is stopping him so much. The best answer that Zelensky could have given on this was, "Thank you for what you've done. I am very sorry that I caused a problem," and just shut up. Thank you again, D's now. Appreciate that so much. Let's continue on.
You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
You invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
that there,
to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
is-
with me.
It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make,
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you
but
saying?
what
She's
if
asking, what if
Putin
Russia breaks the
breaks
ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay?
broken
What if they
ceasefire.
broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin
He went through a
hell of
phony
lot-
witch hunt.
He went through a
where
phony
they
witch
used-
hunt.
All
where
right,
they
so
used-
again, this is kind of like where that person at the beginning of my video earlier, in this live here, sat there and said, certain things, and I was like, look, we can play the what if games on anything, and so you get it. I agree so much with Trump's reply right here to what if. Zelensky, I know you won't watch this live. I do think that Netanyahu watches me, though, because he used lines that I did. But anyhow, look, Zelensky, you do have to zip it. You got to be very respectful when you go to another country. Your actions just alone on this is why Israel doesn't want you there. Even though they've got bigger issues with you, why they will not allow you to come to their country. So, yeah, there's that. Let me read off this for the phrase of Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. Was used by Trump during this meeting. Trump contrasted the military aid provided by the Obama administration, which he characterized as non-lethal assistance like blankets, with his own administration provision of lethal aid, including Javelin anti-tank missiles to Ukraine. That's where the statement's coming from. The statement reflects Trump's emphasis on the increased military support his administration offered to Ukraine compared to the previous administration. The term sheets here is referring to the non-lethal aid packages that include items like blankets, while Javelin denotes the advanced anti-tank weapons supplied under Trump's administration. He's an actor. Oh. Talking about Zelensky. Did y'all see V's person's reactions to this? I don't know who V is. She put her fingers on her nose and eyes like, take the will. I told you to say 4 things. I'm not sure who V is. All right, let's continue on with this.
Him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together.
Thank you, sir. I know this is I need the back of this.
We'll see. I don't know.
Guys, come on. Wait. Hey, guys, come on. Let's move, please.
Sound. My bad. Anyhow, that concludes the video. Now I'm going to sit here and talk to y'all on how this is going. Sorry about that. Someone addressed to V stood for Zelensky, so I appreciate that. Someone said something out a second ago. Actors and things like that. Like, who remembers when Pelosi went over there to Ukraine? You know, it's one of those things, you know, the certain areas that they're going to take you to and not take you to. You can tell, obviously, that this administration underneath Trump is not a fan of Zelensky with how they're handling this. It's very obvious. He was put up on this, you know, big man type deal, and he's pushing it. Look, there's no way that Zelensky's ever going to be into NATO. It just ain't gonna happen. Not with how he's doing this. So I think Trump basically told him, clean out. If you sign the deal, we'll make sure that it's pretty much over. And this gets ended quickly, and you start getting your aid for defense, and you start helping us out with the raw materials. If you don't, well, then it'll be over pretty swiftly within a few days, because we're just going to let Russia do as they will to Ukraine. I don't know what that timeline is. Is that something that will be on the timeline over the week, couple of weeks, few weeks, or a few months? I don't know. So, we'll see. Sean Penn, Lindsey Graham, several went. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Velvet wrote tours. Yeah. Yeah. Look, but don't really look. He was good until he opened his mouth. Like he just should have not picked a fight with Vance. He just and he shouldn't be stating things of like, it's obvious he hates Putin. It's obvious Putin doesn't like him. He was hoping to get out of this. What he was hoping to get is to get Trump to sit there and be like, you know what? Putin is this really bad guy. We should go in and destroy him. I think that was one thing. I think another thing is that, Zelensky was pushing the issue of, that he doesn't believe that Putin would do or honor his ceasefire. I think he was hoping that Trump would sit there and be like, yeah, you're probably right. So, yeah, anybody who's fully listened to this, I don't know many people who would actually be, looking at Ukraine as they're being the one wanting to stop this war, because to me, it's pretty clear that Zelensky will continue to let his people be slaughtered due to he thinks he has cards in his hand. So, yeah, correct, Terry. Zelensky was wanting Trump to hate and bash Putin. Yeah, I see where some of y'all are saying, where Zelensky called J.D. just J.D., there's the language barrier, I know, but there's also trying to be very respectful. France wants those minerals. Now, I bet they do. Have you seen JD's Vance Netflix about his? I have not. I don't get much time to actually watch a lot of things. Yeah, why would you pick a fight? Right there with you. Yeah. Did y'all notice the one part where Trump pushed him? Like, get the out of here, man. I think the tone started to turn when Zelensky spoke on their ceasefire. So, no, if you might have just came in here, Sam, but if you go back and watch this entire video, it was pretty clean. Like, sure, there was things that was a disagreement, but not like the fire response. That happened when Zelensky talked to Vice President Vance and started trying to throw in, that, hey, this started back in 2014, and and Trump was like, hey, look, I'm just letting you know for a third time now that Putin has not broke anything with me. And Zelensky kept pushing it and pissed off Vance, which then pisses off Trump. So, but Trump's thing was that sitting there, Zelensky trying to act like Putin would come after America. Trump ain't going to listen to stuff like that. He's not going to tolerate nonsense. So, one thing that I forgot what I was going to say. Totally forgot what I said. Squirrel was running through my head when I went to speak. Let's see. My cousin has a Ukrainian flag on his profile picture. He says he's with Ukraine. Can I family divorce him? I get it. People that are in a stance of they want humanitarian and things like that. The ones that I scratch my head on is when someone says that they're for Ukraine, and they're just fully blind to thinking that Ukraine is doing everything good. Look, probably about $330 billion. And you've had, in the span of 3 years, still 12,000 people die of civilians. And you're escalating this war. You are actually escalating it. I have not seen anything of Ukraine trying to get this war to end. In fact, what's that country? Where is it? Was it Lithuania? Don't hold me to it. I think it's Lithuania. No, Belarus. I feel pretty certain it was Belarus. Belarus had it to where they could have met. Zelensky and Putin could have sat down and there could have been a discussion about ceasefire. Zelensky is the one who denied going to it. And that was at the start of this. Maybe within 6 months. I really feel it was within a few months. But yeah. So, yeah. I get why y'all are saying, y'all view it as a threat. To me, I view it as he was just trying to say that he truly believes that Putin is the next mustache man. So, or Putin is the next Alexander the Great. Funny how that one works, right? Alexander the Great, seen as a good guy, still taking over everything. Mustache man, seen as a bad guy, trying to take over everything. dang sure I'm not saying that Mustache Man was in the right on that. just to throw that out there if anybody was confused on that. But yeah, it's always funny how history is told. And who looks like a good guy. So, but yeah, let's see. CNN called him Churchill, really. I think it was a threat. 2 pretty much says if you don't continue to help me, then the U.S. is going to have problems. I think he would. I just feel that it's him saying that Russia isn't going to stop with us. It's going to bleed over into everyone else that's not, Russia, support. So, yeah, his story. I felt that way. Yeah, Trump put a stop to it immediately. Trump put a stop to it because he doesn't want to hear the bashing of Putin, and vice versa. It's how can we get this war to end, this horrible, bloody war to end? What's it going to take? Because Russia's not backing off. We tried the route for a few years, or 2.5 years underneath Biden's administration. It just turned it into a bloodbath. And very clear and obvious that Russia is taking Ukraine by storm. So, and without the aid of mainly America. So, let's see. All right, so America has given $300 plus billion. Got to do the conversion. And then NATO, or the European Union, has given basically maybe about 133 billion. That's it. So here's America at almost, twice as much. So, or I'm sorry, not twice as much. Almost. I don't even know the math to that. Man, my mind's. What is the percentage on that? Hold on. Let's see. So almost what would that be? 160% more? I mean, that's ridiculous. How much more we have given. United Kingdom is where it drastically drops to only $2 billion. Germany, very little. Canada, very little. France, very little. Australia, very little. Poland, very little. Sweden, very little. Norway, very little. So, So, here's the question. If America stopped giving money to Ukraine, will NATO continue? Here's the answer that AI responds back and says, if the United States were to stop providing aid to Ukraine, NATO countries would likely continue offering support, but the scale and scope of that support would depend on the political dynamics and commitments of individual member states. Ukraine's not sent in a spot at all. I hate this for them. This should have never started. Let them do it alone. Didn't Putin say a while back he wanted to give the Ukrainian people a better life than they do now? I'm not familiar with that. Let me see. Let's see if there is anything. Yes. Yes, that statement is true. He aimed it at improving the lives of the Ukrainian people. But it's been criticized and viewed as contradictory to the realities of the conflict. The weeks leading up to the invasion of February 22nd, 2022, Putin delivered a speech where he implied that the Ukrainian government was illegitimate and that Russia was acting to restore order, protect Russia-speaking people, and ensure stability in the region. While not directly stating that he wanted to give the Ukrainian people a better life, his remarks suggested that Russia's intervention was framed as a action for Ukraine's benefit. Now, in the liberation narrative, liberation narrative says this. It says, Putin has often framed Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a liberation of the Ukrainian people from a supposed oppressive government. He has claimed that Russia's actions are meant to protect Russia-speaking Ukrainians, especially in the eastern regions, and to free them from what he characterizes as a and I'm going to get to say this, I think, Nazi government in Kiev. This narrative is central to his justification for the military intervention. Now, with using that naughty word, that is the reason why Zelensky was not allowed to go to Israel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go research it. So, what president in war will go to a Vogue photo shoot? But yeah. All right. Well, let's see. I think that was a pretty fun and interesting night. Might be back on later tonight, unsure. But yeah, good 2.5 hour live. I want to thank everybody who came in, gave the thumbs up. When you go to leave tonight and the video ends, make sure that you make a comment on the video. Say what your favorite part was. And then also want to give a shout out to D's Now for sending in the gift. Greatly do appreciate that. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much. And as I always say, do not live in fear, because if you live in fear, you die several times in your life. If you do not live in fear, then you only die one time. With that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed, and amazing night. Take care. God bless. Night, everybody.